Good morning, everybody. We had some data come out this morning. It was actually very low. ADP non-farm employment change 37,000. They were looking for 111. So missed the mark by quite a bit on that one. PMI coming out at 9:45. PMI at 10 a.m. as well. Let's take a look at our trade plan from yesterday. Do we need to update these levels? So holding above 91, we're looking for 6,012 and 21. Those are still good. Holding below 52, we're looking for 09 and 79. Those are still good. In between, there's about a 40-point range. That is a rotation of yesterday's value area. So right now we are in that rotation. So as long as we stay below 91, you're rotating between 91 and 52. As always, if there's a large price difference between my levels, it's because we are basically in an inside day and we are looking for those rotations. Do we need to change our NASDAQ levels? Let's take a look here. Holding above 751, we are looking for 858, which is that prior high, and 22,000. Nice whole number there. Holding below 580, we're looking for 398 and 249. Those are still good. In between 751 and 580, that is a rotation of yesterday's value. So once again, that gap between our levels giving us a rotation target from 751 to 580, which we are currently doing. It's about halfway complete and stalling on that POC. All right, nice and easy. If you guys read the trade plan last night, it's still the same. No change there. Only difference is the slight bullish bias that I had on the trade plan last night. It's not so much bullish right now. You still have that kind of inside chop right now. You do have a bullish bias because of the P shape of yesterday. So as long as we protect that value low of yesterday, you still have a slight bullish bias. But it's not as bullish as just showing that P shape yesterday and continuing that trend higher. All right, I posted the trade plan. Let me pin it for you guys. There you go. All right, let's take a look at a few other things here. We got plenty of time today. All right, looking at the overall markets, the bonds are clearly up because the yields are down. Yields are down. Excuse me, can't speak today. Yields are down 1%. Dollar is down 0.25%. The euro is up about the same. USD JPY down 0.25. Bitcoin down 0.4. And gold down, or sorry, gold is up 0.25%. So pretty flat overall. Looks like the bond and yield market is pretty active if you guys are trading that market. Bonds are down a bit if the yields are, or sorry, the bonds are up a bit if the yields are down about 1%. The daily on ES and NASDAQ coming into that very important level, those prior highs from a couple weeks ago. ES not really deciding if we want to stay above those highs just yet. If we look at it on NASDAQ, we already have a pretty clean break of those prior highs. So this could be leading to a lot of high time frame buy pressure, same thing I talked about yesterday. Yesterday was very clearly a high time frame buy pressure day. They were not allowing any of that short-term sell pressure to hold them down. They were just completely trapping and squeezing out all of the sellers yesterday. They were also doing it in a very healthy way. It wasn't like a very quick squeeze where they weren't really establishing any value or anything like that. They were doing it in a very sophisticated, slow, methodical, let's break out, let's trap these guys, node, right? They just kept building up nodes as they were climbing. So very good day for NASDAQ yesterday. Very good day for ES as well, but it didn't have enough. It didn't get above those prior highs from May 19th to like May 20th. We do need to see some more buy pressure on ES to get above that 980 to 6,000 here. One more thing, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Any change on our trade plan? No, it's doing absolutely nothing the past couple of days. Any change on gold? No, still looks slightly bullish. Keep an eye on 440 and 500. Just another minor change to my template from yesterday is I colored my DOM a little bit darker because the DOM was like way lighter than all my other charts. So I finally just matched it to my other charts. Everything else is the same. Good morning, everybody. Wanashima Techie, Moto, Ordinary, Scott, Crypto, M, Mike, Greg Wars, Adriana, Kim, Jose, Roger, TK, Faraj, Christian, James. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. By the way, I appreciate all the support on the recap video yesterday. That was by far the best recap we've had so far, views-wise. So I appreciate you guys supporting that video. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the recaps. Good morning, James, Blair, Fernando, Patriot. VC, you like the recap? Awesome, man. Here, let me show my settings. I know I'm going to get a bunch of questions because my settings are changing. So I'm going to show them. Just remember the timestamp, 9:17. So if anybody asks, we'll just tell them to go back to 9:17. So here are my settings for my new cluster if you guys want to match them. And then here's my additional one. This is set to 33, so 33%. And then contrast is maxed out. And then my other settings that I changed, you have to go to indicators and then look up one called cluster search. And then here are my settings for that one as well. So this is the bearish one. And then here is the bullish one. And one more thing I added was just the daily high and low. So that's what these little boxes are right here. The boxes are from the cluster search. The boxes are highlighting any node or any tick that has more than 100 or less than negative 100 delta. And then the highlighting on the actual, on the left, that's only highlighting the upper third, the upper 33% of the delta. So instead of highlighting like everything like I used to do it, kind of like this, or like it was all kind of highlighted, it still kind of serves the same purpose. You can see like it's still highlighting these as the highest. But I think it looks a lot cleaner the way that I'm doing it now. So it's highlighting the very important nodes. And then the ones that are not as important, but we still want to keep an eye on them, are these little boxes. So a great example is yesterday. Where was it? Right here. I talked about this in my recap video. But a great example is like right here, we had a strong cluster of bearish delta on that high that started pushing us down. Same thing right here. Strong bearish cluster there. And then as it was pushing down, you still had a lot of delta right here. It just wasn't highlighting it, but we could see that cluster on the boxes right here. So we had those little box alerts that were coming in. Hey, Patriot, I don't have it on the actual website. I am looking at adding like a place on the website that you guys can just go in and actually do it on the website. But for now, if you send it to me on my email or in the Discord, that's the best way to do it. Here's my email if you want to send a testimonial. A lot of buy pressure coming in here. We still have 10 minutes until the open, but look at that buy pressure. Pretty big block on NASDAQ coming in. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, best way to send it is either in the testimonial channel itself, or you can send it to me on my direct messages. If you're not in the Discord, you can send it to me on the email. And if you want to provide like evidence screenshots, like your certificates, your payouts, stuff like that, you can, you don't have to. If you do provide anything like that, if it has your name on it, I will make sure to black it out if I'm putting it on the site. Thank you guys for the ones who, I think we have like 5 or 6 people that sent me testimonials already. I appreciate you guys. This weekend, I'm going to sit down and actually put them on the website. Good morning, Dab. Let me see what you said here. Dab, on TradingView, the blue profile is just the pre-market, and then the gray profile is just the full session. No fancy hours for them, just pre-market and full session. The pre-market one ends at 9:30. Good morning, Angelo. Good morning, Leo, Larry, AT, Morris, Roman, Vi. Yeah, no worries, Patriot. Whatever you want to send, feel free. It all helps. Yeah, I can show you the settings really quick. It's on number of rows. This is all just color coding. That doesn't matter. I've literally not changed like any of these settings. I think the only setting that I changed is I think that's default actually. That might be default. The number of rows. The row size, I don't believe that starts at 100. So that might be something I changed. But everything else is default. I think row size is the only thing I changed. And then everything else is just color preference. Good morning, Kyle, Trevor. Do we have any afternoon breakouts? We do. We've got a couple of afternoon breakouts to the downside. Good morning, Tamer. Is that fight this week, Tamer, or is it next week? Those big fights. Yeah, backpacking. It's basically just personal preference. Some people don't like to respect the pre-market fill-ins, and some people do. So it's really just up to you. I personally don't respect too many pre-market fill-ins. It really depends. I prefer for things to be fixed on the actual hours. I would say if they're filled in like at peak London hours, then it's probably okay. Because there is a lot of volume on peak London hours. But typically, by far, the most volume is the London-New York overlap. That's when you want to see things get repaired. Good morning, Bacon. No, I don't care too much about the pre-market value area. Not a big deal for any of my setups. We have really good liquidity, even on pre-market. Look at how good our liquidity is. Want to greet so Simon Fatal? Appreciate you guys being here. Good morning, good morning. We do have data after the bell today, 9:45 and 10 a.m., and the beige book at 2 o'clock. Okay, finally the open here. A lot of buy pressure coming in before the open. Let's see if it maintains past the bell here. So far, getting absorbed a little bit. We're right on that value high of yesterday at 91. Damn near to the tick. We'll see if it can actually hold above that level. Definitely not seeing absorption anymore. They're breaking through that node pretty easily. They're not finding a whole lot above that node. They do need to support this 91 area. You wanted 2013. Keep an eye on the EMAs here, trying to break out of yesterday's balance. Needs to stay above 91. Pretty aggressive so far, trading a few points off of the 80 EMA. Still looking pretty good. Keep an eye on these volume nodes. That was a very clean retest of that prior volume node. Very similar to what we saw yesterday. You back tested that value node there. Also a little bit of a cluster on the delta. And now we are pushing off of it. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Joan. Dow again. What's Dow doing? Is Dow coming down? Oh no, Dow's breaking out. Looks pretty strong. Very strong open so far. You're basically one time framing on the 1 minute chart. Uh, 10 minutes until the first data print, and then another one at 10 o'clock. 1 minute losing its one time frame here, breaking the first 1 minute low, delta coming into the downside. Just getting a little bit far off that 8 EMA, so it's probably going to pull back and tap it here. Very strong upper node here. Damn near putting the POC. There it is. Yep, POC on the high of day. Yeah, I believe we have like 2 single prints left below us from yesterday, as well as an afternoon breakout. The problem is, I talked about this in Discord. The problem with those is this is a high time frame move. When you have high time frame moves like this, they don't really care about problems like that. This move, at least this is what I think, right? It looks like it's a high time frame move where the high time frame traders, the large traders, are really taking over. We talked about it yesterday on the recap as well, about how they were retesting that giant volume node with all that overlapping value. And then we started bouncing off of that volume node, and they basically did not allow any of the sellers to maintain any kind of sell pressure, right? You had a little bit of sell pressure here and there, a couple of traps, but nothing sustained, right? They were able to hold on to that buy pressure the entire day. And that's typically what you see when the high time frame traders are taking over. So when we have these high time frame traders, these macro traders in charge, they don't really care too much about these like single prints and afternoon breaks and all the intraday stuff. We also have rollover, I believe, next week. Next week or the week after. Might be the week after. So a lot of high time frame stuff coming up. Yeah, we're seeing pretty much the same thing today. It looks like the high time frame traders are in control. They're just sustaining a lot of buy pressure. Maintaining it, I should say. Yeah, when I say high time frame traders, I'm talking about like the swing traders, like traders that they don't care about what's happening on a 1 minute chart. They don't care about these little patterns that we're watching with VWAP and stuff like that. They care about like contract liquidity. They care about the weekly time frames, the monthly time frames, the quarterlies. They care about the options flow, right? Looking at the gamma levels and open interest on the contracts, like all the big stuff, the big boy stuff. They care about the contract rollovers, the quarterly closes, the weekly closes. Yeah, they don't give a shit about 5-point moves, exactly. The traders that actually dictate what the market does. They are very clearly in control right now, and they are very clearly bullish. Which is funny because all the reports that are coming out, how many reports have we seen recently that's talking about how the hedge funds and the CTAs and all the smart money guys are bearish? It doesn't look like it to me. But you never know. Yeah, you're not wrong, Paul. You never know. I mean, we literally have data in 5 minutes. This could turn into a trap. Not a great sign that buyers are being absorbed into a data print. There's a data print coming out at 9:45 and 10 a.m. Good morning, Max. Good morning, D. Good morning, Tom. Yeah, a lot of the news recently has been a fake out for the first few minutes. We've been seeing a lot of overreactions. We've had a lot of news, like headlines come out, a lot of data prints come out, and then the market moves very aggressively for the first like 5 minutes or so, and then it flips. So be careful. Gotcha, Techie. So that's when the rollover is starting, but it's ending on 6:20. Gotcha. Yeah, so the rollover is starting in about a week or two, and then it comes to an end on 6:20. Right now, we have a pretty standard premium. There's a 50-point premium. Here comes that nice hold number. That 6K target from yesterday. I believe the higher impact data print is at 10 o'clock. This one is the lighter one. Here comes that 9:45 print. Still seeing a lot of absorption before that print on the high here. Oh, Sam, I don't really care about the data as far as like believing it or not. It's just whether or not the market believes it, right? Which way does the market move? I'm not a very macro guy. I don't swing trade. So I don't really do a ton of analysis on the data itself. I just analyze how the market is reacting to the data. The people who actually care how the data comes out, they're more of like the macro traders trading the bond market typically, trading much higher time frames. PMI 53.7 over 52.3, so higher than expected. The higher impact data print is at 10 o'clock. Like I always talk about with like the calendar that I use, the Forex Factory, or you guys can use like Financial Juice, whatever it may be, doesn't matter. Wherever you guys get your data. You don't want to completely ignore it if you're like a scalper or a day trader. You definitely want to know when the data is coming out, pay attention to it. But beyond like the 30-minute candle, you don't really care. You don't care what the data is really showing you. If you're just looking for these small trades. The macro guys, they actually care how the data is trending and whatnot. We care more about the order flow, about the initial reaction. So far, the initial reaction is pretty bullish, bouncing off the 24 EMA damn near to the tick, trying to reclaim this upper node here. This is one of those dangerous news trades for people because they take the 9:45 news trade and they forget there's a 10 o'clock news trade that could take them out. That was a pretty quick retrace of this London candle. I mean, it wasn't the strongest candle. Entirely weak right here. Very weak right here. Couple of nodes on the low side. Both of those were reclaimed very quickly, and now we just reclaimed the upper node as well. That was a very strong candle for the overnight. As far as like wiping out these prior 30-minute candles, that one candle damn near wiped out the entire range. That was from the data that came out. But we've already retraced that whole candle, so. Good morning, Sam. What'd you say, Paul? Just a daily wedge above the yearly VWAP? Yeah, yearly VWAP has been pretty clean. I mean, damn near to the tick. I mean, it basically was to the tick. On May 23rd, we pulled back to retest it. It bounced off it pretty much to the exact tick. Which was pretty gross. The weekly OTS trail hasn't flipped back to being green yet. It's very close. I'd say probably on this weekly close, maybe next week. The monthly never flipped red. It caught that dip. So our trend is still pretty bullish. Looks like the market is waiting on the 10 a.m. data. Doesn't care too much about the 9:45. This is a pretty dangerous place to sit right before a data candle. Sitting on high of day with a large node that is pretty much entirely bullish delta being absorbed. I'd say the buyers are in a lot more danger here than the sellers based on this data print. Is it like yesterday, wait for the sweep? It's almost there. The sweep is almost there. That'd be a pretty large sweep. That's about 10 points. Good morning, Taps. I use 8 and 24. Good morning, friendly. Looks like they wanted to trap some sellers before the data as well. They only had buyers trapped. Now they kind of have both. If it sits here for this data print, it's going to be a painful print. Because they have a cluster of buyers trapped on the high, and they have a cluster of sellers building up here as well. Going to be an interesting print. You got about 5 minutes left. There is a ton of delta on this candle. So all these blocks, they have to have a minimum of 100 delta. These are not block trades. These are just, I'm just calling them blocks because they're squares. But all of these squares, the tick has to have a minimum of 100 delta. So almost every tick here has either 100 positive or negative delta. Is it better to trade after the data release? That's completely up to you. Some people like trading news, some people don't. I'd say most people are not going to do well on news trading. Most people would prefer to wait. But yeah, that's entirely personal preference. Yeah, this is the problem with the PMI days. PMI days, you have data after the bell, and you basically have to wait until like 10 a.m. We have some Fed data coming out at 2 p.m. Do I prefer market profile or volume profile? They're pretty much exactly the same thing. I would say that I use volume profile more, but they're pretty much exactly the same as far as like analysis goes. I wouldn't call this anything but news. You can't trust patterns going into a data print. This should be a very volatile print because they're trapping a lot of traders. We should see plus or minus 10 points. Like 6,010 or 5970. Maybe 75. 70 is actually kind of far. What are we at? 95 right now? Maybe like 85. $6,005 to 6,010, and then somewhere around 85. Kind of the range I'm anticipating. If it doesn't move a lot on the data print, I would be pretty worried. Because they're probably coiling up for a big move later on. We shall see. Less than a minute. And here we go. There's 85 instantly. So there's the 10-point drop. Let's see if they get both sides. Let's see if they get the 10-point up. Or is it going to maintain the sell pressure here? That's a lot of bearish delta. How's the data actually coming out? 49.9 over 52. Well, I was almost spot on with my 10-point call. 95 to 85. Went down to 83.50. A little bit of slippage. They are trying to hold it below VWAP here. They need to hold below 85, though. Anything above 85 looks like they're going to trap the other side. If you guys don't know what just happened, you need to glue a calendar to your monitor. I wish I was joking. So I'm guessing why the bots sold that one so fast is the PMI data prints, if you guys don't remember. It's one of those data prints that 50 is the baseline. So below 50 is bad, basically, and above 50 is good. In like the simplest terms possible. And it printed at 49.9, so just below the baseline. That's probably causing a lot of bots to sell it. And that was the first below 50 that we've had since July of last year, so almost a year. Below 50, we had July 24, May 24, January 23, June 2020, April 2020. Or sorry, May 2020. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the last 5 years. It doesn't happen very often. Good morning, LDM. All right, so now the humans are stepping in. Let's see if the humans want to follow the bot sell-off. Looks like the sellers are pretty strong here. They need to stay below 87, which maintains control of that node. It also maintains control of VWAP. Okay, I'd say the humans are controlling, or sorry, they are supporting the bots here. The bots from the headline sold aggressively. Typically wait a few minutes and then the retail traders will start coming in. The human traders will start coming in. And now we're starting to push down, still respecting that node at 85. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about the buyers being in more trouble than the sellers. I said that because of where we were. We were on the high of day, and we had a large cluster of buy pressure on the high of day that did not get any profit whatsoever. So path of max pain was to the downside. Now, I wasn't completely predicting the downside. Like I said, it's a coin flip. It's news. The coin flip is obviously bearish. So now what we're looking for is the rotation of yesterday from 91 to 52. We're about 10 points in that rotation. We're still on the POC node, so we still have a lot of support until we start losing like 70. Losing 70 becomes a problem. Very strong downtrend. 1 minute, damn near one time framing. Delta still continuing to the downside, getting pretty far away from the ADMA. It's a 10-point bounce back. Typically, that's a little too far from the ADMA, which is probably why we're bouncing a little bit here. Okay, here's the bounce back. Like I said, it does not like to be that far away from the ADMA. It gives you pretty decent scalps when it does stuff like that, but they're dangerous. They're very dangerous. You have to be a pretty experienced micro scalper to look for stuff like that. There's the bounce back. Here's the ADMA, so that gave you about a nearly 10-point bounce. Turning into a bit more than a bounce here. Let's see if it can stay above the ADMA. You're in the danger zone on this bounce, kind of a bear flag zone, possibly a bear flag into VWAP if it stays below 88. I would say they're repairing the 30-minute candle, but that's way too early. Very important retest here. If they start selling this immediately, they're protecting VWAP and this node here. If they do not sell it, they're just rotating because this candle, funny enough, is actually pretty balanced. So far, getting a decent amount of sell pressure. Keep an eye on those 1 minute closes. Does it actually close away from VWAP here? Does it get back below that ADMA? Does it build up any sell pressure below 85? That's a pretty solid 1 minute close for the sellers. Can it build up anything below 85? A lot of responsive buy pressure, buying that first breakdown at 82. They're trying to protect that ADMA bullishly. If they lose this 1 minute low, then it should continue. There's not a whole lot below 81. You're not seeing any follow-up sell pressure. You had that initial sell pressure on VWAP. You're not getting any follow-up. Here's a little bit here. Let's see if it can stay below 81. It's really struggling. You can see it keeps bouncing off like 82 to 83. You have a lot of responsive buy pressure. You can see it on the tape here. 83, 84, 85, 85, 85, 84 again. Right now, you have too much responsive buy pressure for this bear flag. It's not stopping the bear flag out. It would have to probably go to like 92. I'd say like 92 or above to completely stop it out. But it's definitely not looking great. It needs to find more sell pressure. The problem with this candle right now for strong sellers, like initiative sellers, is it looks balanced. Where it has like a strong node in the middle, falls off on the high, falls off on the low, so you're just rotating. What they want to do to correct this is they want to push down and build this node up as a resistance node. So they want to push down, start to sell this node, then they'll look much better. The problem is, every time it comes down here, you can watch it on the tape, the buyers just buy it right back up. Yeah, that's also another problem, is we're on yesterday's POC, exactly. And that's probably why this candle is so balanced, because we are rotating yesterday's POC. This is the POC chop I always talk about. When you're trading a POC, you're basically coin flipping, because the POC is an area on the day that both sides agree is a good price. Both sides are trading that area quite frequently, right? So you get a lot of chop. You know what this looks like? We talked about it at the start of the stream. This looks like, yet again, the high time frame buyers are in control. The high time frame buyers are being extremely responsive. Anytime there's a significant sell-off, they buy it up almost immediately. If you go back and watch my bear flag and the VWAP videos, we talk about, I think there's like shorts, mostly in the shorts I talk about this. But when you start that initial sell-off, you basically need one continuous move to the prior low. If it doesn't have that continuous move and you start to find responsive buyers, then that's typically showing you that it's a higher low coming in. And right now we have that higher low. Okay, so same thing for the buyers here. This candle is pretty balanced. So if we want to break out of this candle, we need to build this upper node up and start using it as support, which they're currently not doing. So this is a very key area to watch the tape. Watch how those orders are coming in. Are they continuously buying 91, 92? Or are they continuously selling 91, 92? Right now, they are selling 91, 90, 50, 90, 50, 89. So far, it is respecting the cash profile P shape. Slightly bullish. Most of the volume is towards the high, value low being protected. If they begin to lose that value low, then it turns into a P-shaped trap. That becomes a problem for the buyers, right? The late buyers are in trouble. Big bearish block there, nearly 1,000 contracts. Why did that not come up on here? Or was that... Oh, there it was. It was actually a while ago. I didn't see it. It was at 10 a.m. This is why I talk about the ADMA so much. Let me hide my other indicators. Look at the ADMA here. This is why I say that the 1 minute ADMA is like the aggressive line, the aggressive traders. Because if you watch it around news announcements, if one side is clearly winning, they're going to be clearly trending above or below that ADMA, right? So we were like clearly trending below it. Down here, I said that it was too far away from it, needed to kind of snap back. It did, snapped back into it. So right there, around like 10:09, you had to decide, is this just a snapback and it's going to continue lower, or are we actually bouncing? Are we actually reversing this move? And you don't really know that for the next few minutes. The next few minutes, we start to break, fails VWAP, doesn't put in any new lows, respects the low, respects the ADMA, respects the ADMA again, respects the ADMA again. So this is not just a snapback into the ADMA. They are very clearly respecting it on the buy side. And now they're respecting it yet again. Okay, so like I said earlier, if they want to break out of balance here, they need to build this upper node up, which they are trying to do. They're building the 91 node. They're just not really using it as support yet. Keep an eye on the tapes. We'll see if they start supporting this 91 node. This still could be a bear flag in the VWAP. It's bear flagging into the daily VWAP, and you are not supporting this 91 node on the buy side. So this rotation would clearly go down, possibly to 83, 85, possibly 75. Just watch the tape here. You see the node at like 97.5? We're not really seeing buyers above that. The highest buyer we have here is 90. We had 91.50 back here. We had one order at 91.50. Hey, Polo. Yeah, I'm just changing my settings around a little bit. If you go back to the morning when I started the stream, I think, what do we say, guys? I said there was a timestamp there. It's like 9:17, I believe. If you go back to like 9:17, I talk about my settings. Yeah, I like the new look. The new look is much better contrast. I can actually like easily see what's going on. They are failing to rotate. So if we think about this candle as like the day, let's imagine this is the entire day. The value high would be somewhere around here. The value low would be like somewhere around here. And we're just kind of rotating, right? So it should be going down to that 85 pretty easily. It should be rotating to 85 pretty easily. But it's not. It's struggling on that POC. So you are still leaning slightly bullish if it protects that POC at 87. NASDAQ looks a bit weaker here. NASDAQ actually looks like a bear flag in a VWAP. Failing VWAP, curling back below the EMAs. 1 minute lows continuously being put in. 1 minute lows don't really mean a whole lot. The 1 minute time frame is obviously very short term. But in the short term, they're on VWAP. It is showing a bit of sell pressure. But the buy pressure on ES possibly holding it up. Look at the buy pressure coming in now. So failing to rotate, bouncing off 87 to 85. Keep an eye on the tape here. Like we said earlier, the 91 node. There's buyers at 91. Are we seeing consecutive buyers at 91 or above? There's 91.50. There's 92, 92, 92 and a quarter. More buyers at 91, more buyers at 91 again. So now that we're holding above 91 consecutively, when it comes back to retest it, you still have to watch the tape, watch how the orders are coming in. And you want to see, are we still getting more orders on the buy side at 91? Or do we start seeing a big cluster of sellers at 91, right? Look at what we're seeing on the tape. 91.7, 92 quarter, 92 half, 92.7. $92, 92 half, 92 third, 93. $93.75. It's picking up now. You see that? $93.75 again. Starting to stall a little bit. Not seeing any orders at 93, or sorry, 94. This should tap 94. There's 94. Not seeing any consecutive sell pressure below these upper levels, the 92.50s, the 91s. There's 94.50, 94 third, 95. Big order at 95. Okay, very important level here. We need to see consecutive buy pressure above this 96.50 because that's the POC of the node. The early node, the A node. We want to start seeing 97s, 97 half, 97 third. It's really struggling so far. Now you really do not want to see sellers below 95. Not a good sign there. Right when I said that, block traded 95 quarter, 300, 94.7, 94, 94 quarter. So when you start seeing sell pressure like that and you're in a really good long, that would be a time to probably take a little bit of profit. You don't have to like fully close your trade, but like I said, you really wanted to see that continue. You wanted to see those buyers step above 96.50. You failed that level to the tick. And then what did I say? You don't want to see sellers below 95. Exactly when I said that, you had block trades coming in at 95. They're holding it for now. It doesn't look terrible. If you start seeing more sell orders around 350 or below, you're in trouble. Doesn't look terrible at the moment. You need to see some buyers above 96.50 very soon. Buyers are picking up a little bit here, 95, 5.25. Right now, I would argue they're being absorbed because you're not hitting the 97s. You need to hit the 97s. Okay, new 30-minute candle, very important. You want to see buy pressure immediately. There's 96. Does it get 97? Still being absorbed. Still failing that level, the exact level that we said earlier, this POC right here. You're failing it to the tick. Now, they're not in danger. I wouldn't say the buyers are like absolutely being threatened and being squeezed out or anything like that. But the longer that it does this, the more danger they are in. And right here, you're seeing it as I'm saying it. So you're starting to see more sell pressure come in here. The sellers are, they're like, how do I put this? They're not very strong. It's just take profits right now. When you see these little stabs, like where it stabs downward, but it doesn't really consecutively hold, that's mostly just take profits. They're just stabbing it down. Okay, here we go. New highs. So we have 96.50. Do we get 97? There's 97 quarter. They need to consecutively hold above 96.50. Not just on the ask side. We want to see it on the bid side. The bid is not staying above 96.50. That is the problem. That is why you would say it's absorption. I'm probably going to tape read for a few more minutes. I can't keep this up. It's very mentally exhausting. I try to tape read every now and then for you guys so you guys get the idea. I can only really do it when price is moving like this fast. Bro is downloading the Matrix. Yeah, it's really hard to do while I'm trading and streaming. It's extremely mentally exhausting. Keep an eye on the bid. Watch the bid here. The bid needs to consecutively stay above 96.50. If it does, it will start launching into high of day. We know they're being absorbed because they keep stabbing into 96.50, but they're not holding the bid above it. And then look at the tape. We basically see nothing above 96.50. It's still just a profit-taking candle. The sellers are not overly threatening. If they start building up a lot of consecutive pressure, I'd say below like 94, they become much more threatening. The bid is very strong at 94 on the buy side. Okay, this next stab above 96.50, very important. They need to hold this above 96.50 here. Tape is pretty green. 96 third, 96 quarter, 96.50. This is probably their best attempt so far. Can they keep the bid above 96.50? So far, the answer is no. And you're starting to see why I said this was a good place to take profit earlier. Because now it's become the POC. So both sides are agreeing that this is a good price, which is why I'm not tape reading right now, because it's just 50-50. You haven't really had a signal to full close, like full close your trade, because they're not really threatening the buy side yet. But definitely a good place to take profit in case they just go for a crazy squeeze. Okay, is this just a profit take, or are they going to stay below 94 here? $93, $92 quarter on the tape, not looking great. $92 again. Definitely the strongest sell-off we've seen so far. I would say your complete trail is probably below like 90, below VWAP. So anybody getting any sells holding below that is trailing out pretty much most traders. 91, 90, 50, 90 quarter. This is more so a lack of buying, not strong selling. You could bounce off VWAP here pretty easily. The selling is not that strong. You do need to see, excuse me. You do need to see more consecutive sell pressure for this to maintain below VWAP. Right now, like I said, it's a lack of buying. Still a lack of buying. There's like no buying here. Buyers getting a bit stronger. Need to stay above 92. $92 quarter. The longer it sits here, the more dangerous it is for buyers. They need to get back above like 93.5 very quickly. $275 there. There's 3. They still need like one more point to get out of this. There's 350, much stronger buying. Still no bid above 350. You need the bid above 350. They really do not want to see sellers below 91 now. And right when I said that, there's 91, 90 and a half. Yep, there's the sell-off. You do not want to see sellers below 91, and you got it right when I said it. There's 89, 88, 87. So far, that was just a stab. They're not actually holding this. If they hold the tape below, like I'd say 90, it's very bad for the buyers here. You see this block of selling? That's right when I said it. You do not want to see it below 91. Right here, you saw 91, and then it dropped quickly. 90, 90, 89, 89, 88, 87. Right now, it's just a stab. They're just trying to see if they can find liquidity, and they didn't really find it. So the problem when you have this little stab for liquidity, is if it stalls right here, if it stalls below 90, that means they are not satisfied, and they want to continue hunting that liquidity. If we can maintain back above 90 very quickly, and then back above 92, 50, 93, then that stab is over. Not a great sign for buyers there. Big sell at 91. If they keep the bid below 90 here, they're going to continue to stab it. That take profit at 96 is looking pretty good now, right? They're still hunting liquidity as long as they keep the ask below, or the offer, whatever you want to call it, below 90. They're hunting for liquidity here. They're gonna find a lot more of it at 85. There might be a very quick move to 85. We'll see. That little stab that we just had from 92 to like 88, you're probably going to see a stab like that to 85. We'll see if it can hold below VWAP here. I would still argue that it's mostly a lack of buyers. The sellers are getting a lot stronger, though. The reason I'm saying it's a lack of buyers and not just very strong sellers is we don't have a very obvious seller cluster that is controlling this. We just have these little liquidity stabs where they're trying to stab and look for stop losses. Now, I would say if you're still holding the buy, this is basically where most buyers are going to be stopped out. One more low after this, unfortunately, even if it is a sweep, that trade is pretty much dead. There's almost no way you could maintain a trail below 86, because that would be a 10-point pullback. That's way too wide of a pullback for most people. And if they do continue to stab below 85, there is nothing supporting you. So they can stab all the way down to 70. They could push all the way down to 70 to grab liquidity, and there's nothing stopping them. So that's why, like, your last line of support as a trail is basically right here. You're starting to see the sell pressure ramp up. You see the sell pressure starting to come in a lot heavier at 88 to 87. Mostly 88, actually, 88. They're looking for that stab to 85 that I was talking about. If they can stay below 89 here, it should have that quick little stab down to grab the liquidity. Yeah, there it is. So it stalled a little early there. It stabbed down to like 86. Sorry, stab's not a very pleasant word. I don't really have a better word for it right now. What I mean by stab is like it's just quickly like pushing down into liquidity and then kind of sweeping it. It's not exactly a sweep, which is why I'm not calling it a sweep. But it's just kind of like it's poking. It's just kind of like poking for the liquidity. Keep an eye on the offers here. The ask, the offers, whatever you want to call it. They need to stay below 88 to 89, and they're kind of struggling to do that. The buyers don't look terrible on VWAP here. This is like, imagine you took profit here at 96, like I said, and you're holding like half your trade, a third of your trade. You're like sweating right now because your stop is like basically like right here. Your stop is pretty much around like 85. That last little stab down, that will take you out. So right now you're feeling pretty good. It's bouncing like right before that 85 stab. But you're definitely sweating. It doesn't look fantastic for the runner. If you guys are enjoying the commentary, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Appreciate you guys being here. I do stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I've also been putting out recap videos at the end of the day. Pretty much every day. We should have one coming out today as well. Okay, it looks like their liquidity hunt is over for now. So now we need to see the buyers get back above 95.50 to 96 very quickly. The longer it stays below 95, the more it looks like a lower high, and they will continue to look for liquidity to the downside. Yeah, basically what I was just doing for the last like 30 minutes, hour, however long I was doing it, that's kind of what is going on in my brain when I'm looking to take trades, and I'm looking to hold on to my trades, move my stop losses, move my take profits, whatever, right? Now, typically your brain's going to work a lot faster than I can speak, right? So I'm doing a lot more calculations than just that, but overall, that's you're getting the gist of it. Okay, so you see what I mean about the lower high? You see how they didn't stay above that like 94 to 95? Now it looks like a lower high. So now, once you approach that 85 again, you start trading around like 87, 85. You need to pay attention to the tape again to see if they're just very slowly pushing it down, like they're kind of just probing for liquidity, just kind of stabbing downward, or are they actually consecutively holding these sellers below, I'd say like 88 right now. If they're consecutively holding below 88, then your stop is you're done. You're going to get taken out. Or if you're a seller, that looks really good, right? Okay, so pay attention here. Now we're at 87. Is it consecutively staying below 88 on the tape? We'll see if it does. Right now, it's kind of 50-50. It's building the node up. I would say the sellers still have a bias. There's 88, 87. They possibly will stab down to 85. Need to see more below 88. There's 87 again, 86.50. It looks like they're preparing for the stab. Possibly down to 85, maybe 83. This is the POC of the node. That's why they're struggling. The POC of the node, this node right here, is 86 and a third. 86.75. Yeah, buyers are very strong on that node. 86.75, 87 quarter, 87.50, 89 quarter. Buyers are very strong on that node. This is what I was talking about with you being a buyer and you're sweating your ass off. Because if you're a buyer, that's your stop. Your stop is basically that stab. If it stabs down to 85, you're done. So this is something that is really hard to teach. It's basically just up to the trader. How do you manage a trade if you're in profit and it keeps getting that close to your stop loss, but it doesn't stop you out? Do you panic and do you close it? Do you wait for a bounce and then close it while you're in profit? Do you just slowly keep raising your stop loss until it does stop you out? Like that's really hard to say what the right thing is to do. It's kind of up to you. It's kind of up to your emotions and how you trade that. The way that I would manage this position, let's pretend like we're still in a long and my stop loss is 85. And we kept getting down to 85, but we didn't stop me out. If this did bounce all the way back to where I took profit earlier at 96, and we went for one more attempt on 96, and then it failed, I'm done. I'm done with that trade. At that point, the trade's just pissing me off. It's just taking too long. It's being too choppy. I'm over it. So basically, it gets close to my stop loss, fails, doesn't stop me out. And this is my stop loss in profit, by the way. That would be like a trailing stop loss. And then we get back to my initial target. And then we go for one more attempt. Fails the attempt. Pretty much done at that point. Okay, very important to watch the buyers above 91 here. If we can hold the bid above 91, it should go back to that prior high. But it's really struggling. Right here, we don't really care what happens. It's kind of just building a node up. We want to pay attention when it gets to like 91, 92. I'm assuming the tape on NASDAQ looks a lot more bullish right now. The candles are actually trending. You don't have a lot of delta, though. Needs more delta. Another thing we talked about earlier about the high time frame guys. One way you can kind of tell they're still in control is what is that level that I keep talking about on the daily? It's that 980 to 6,000, right? And every time we try to stay below 980, it just gets bought up. Tried to stay below 980, bought up. Tried to stay below 980, bought up again. They really like that high time frame level. All right, like I said, we don't really care what happens here. It's just building a node up. We care if it gets down to 90, or sorry, gets down to like 87, or if it goes above 91. Anything between, we don't really care. Look at the offer here. The offer here is big. Got taken out very easily. That's a good sign. The offer was 100 contracts, instantly taken out. Very good sign for buyers. That's why the delta is spiking on NASDAQ as well. I'm assuming the same thing was happening on NASDAQ. Delta spiking on ES as well. Look at the consecutive buy pressure now. 91 91 quarter, 91 half, 91 third, 93. Possibly giving you another attempt on the high. At this point, we don't care what happens between 96 and 90. We want to see it above 96 or below 90. Anything in between, don't really care. Hey, Vu, I appreciate you continuing your membership on YouTube. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Appreciate that. All right, here's where the fun begins. Let's see if it can actually stay above 96. 96.50 to be exact. So realistically, 97. New 30-minute candle, very important. Start of the candle. Buyers need to take over right away. Hey, Zach, have a good day, man. Look at that trend on NASDAQ. Very clean 1-minute trend. Now, this is where tape reading gets a little difficult, right? Because we're on the POC. It's very 50-50. Basically, anything between these two white lines, don't really care. Don't really care about tape reading too much. But above this white line, you want to pay attention. Need to hold the buyers. And then below this one here, need to hold the sellers. But that little 6-point range right there, you don't really care. Good morning, Maria. I would say probably start by like tuning into a few live streams. You'll pick up a lot from the live streams. But obviously, if you don't know anything about volume profile or like footprint, delta, order flow, you probably won't know what the hell I'm talking about on my live streams. So I'd recommend watching my volume profile playlist and my order flow playlist. And those playlists will typically catch you up to what you need to know to watch the live streams. And then for exact trading setups, I talk about them on my YouTube Shorts and my my playbook playlist. Big sellers at 95. Not really going anywhere, though. They instantly got absorbed. That is not a great sign for the sellers if they can't stay below 95. When you see like a block like this, like a big block of orders on the tape, and they instantly are going against them, like they're instantly negative, that's not a good sign. Jefferson, there's no way for me to teach it, really. The only way I can teach it is by doing it live, like I was just doing today. There's no way for me to teach it in a way that you guys would understand it enough to do it on your own. You would just have to listen to how I do it live and then kind of mimic it or find your own way of doing it. I try to have live streams every now and then where I talk about it when price is moving fast enough for me to make it readable, I guess you would say. But yeah, it's just exhausting. It's very hard. This node is definitely bearish leaning. The POC node is being protected by the sellers a lot more. You can tell by the big blocks on the tape, and you can tell by the lower high. Like I said, we don't really care what happens in this next, like, 6-point range that we're in, 90 to 96, but it's definitely leaning slightly bearish for now. Watch those EMAs, though. EMAs are definitely leaning bullish. The trend is leaning bullish. Okay, now we're paying attention. Let's see if it can stay above 97. We want to see that bid consecutively stay above 97. We want to see a stab looking for liquidity possibly into 99, possibly 6,000. So I think I mentioned it at the time. If I didn't, there's a pretty clear absorption here. So those sellers were being absorbed, which was protecting your stop. At this point, if your stop was down here, like I said, if this breakout fails, you're done with this trade. Or at the minimum, you're raising your stop to like 90 or below this candle. You're not going to leave your stop down here at this point. It's too long. So I'll just get rid of this for now. You're basically banking on this breakout being the breakout finally. That bid is holding 96. Watch the tape here. Pay attention to the sell side. Is the sell side getting back below 96? If the answer is no, then it's obviously holding that as support. There's 98, probing higher. Okay, here's a little rebound. Watch the sell side. Is the sell side testing below 96? So far, the answer is no. Okay, here goes a little test, 96.50. The answer is still no. When I say bots like that, Maria, I'm talking about like the big boys, like the hedge funds, whatever, just their algorithms. They use like they use algorithms for their trading, right? High frequency trading bots, news bots, all that stuff. Okay, there was a little probe there below 96. It is not staying below 96. They probed 96, 95 quarter, instantly bouncing. So as a buyer, you're feeling good. It's not a big deal. You're not feeling great. You want to see it holding above 97 much more, but you're not like feeling like you're about to be stopped out. It's starting to get worse. If it stays below 96, you're not feeling great. The problem with me commentating tape reading is you can flip-flop very quickly. I mean, it's damn near order by order. Like you're flip-flopping like order by order. I'm already losing my voice as well, so. Yeah, you guys are also getting a lag on YouTube. If you guys are listening in Discord, you're fine. Discord is live. But on YouTube, you guys typically have about a 5 to 6 second delay. And there's not much I can do about that. I stream at the fastest latency YouTube will allow me to. When I talk about latency, I always think back to like there was a couple people back then that used to say they used to say that like I was scamming. I was using the YouTube latency to see things before they happen and then call them out on stream. And I was like, brother in Christ, that is not how latency works. Might be one of the dumbest like ways someone could call me a scammer I think I've ever seen. That might have the #1 spot. Not looking fantastic as a buyer here. You want to see more buy pressure above 97. It's really stalling out. I mean, they're doing a good job protecting it on the responsive side. The responsive side's doing okay. But the initiative side, the aggressive side, not doing that great. Yeah, Chebby, I don't know, he like thought I was like seeing 6 seconds into the future or something. I don't even know. I don't know what his reasoning was. It's funny because my YouTube haters, they probably like living in my head rent free, but they don't realize they're living in my head rent free because I'm like laughing at them on a daily basis of the dumb shit they say. Whenever I need a good laugh, I start thinking about that stuff. So you notice how I'm not commentating right now? It's because we don't care what happens right here. Like this is a POC chop. So we don't really care until it starts staying above the POC. And we've already probed like 98, so we want to stay above where we stabbed, right? So we had a stab for liquidity here. So now we want to stay above 98. This would be getting to that point where if you were still holding a trade and it barely didn't stop you out, and you told yourself that, okay, I'll give it one more attempt, and then now we're kind of failing that attempt, you're basically hovering over the close button. So you're pretty much ready to exit this trade at this point, if anything bad happens or goes against you. Yeah, Paul, have a good day, man. Gonna need to drink a lot more water. I'm making like 4 videos a day now. Yeah, Unleashed. The Heikin-Ashi candles I use pretty much every day. If you guys use my bots, the bots are designed to be used on Heikin-Ashi candles. So whenever I'm looking at the bots on like a strong trend, they're always on Heikin-Ashis. Not watching the bots too much today because we're very choppy. Yesterday, the bots were looking really clean. If you guys were watching them on the trend day yesterday. No, Mauricio, I don't care about any of those simulator trading competitions or just trading competitions in general. Those are there for people that want to be influencers and like want to get their name out there, and I don't know, this is not for me. Like I said, outside of streaming, I'm a pretty private person. Which is another reason why I don't stream with a webcam and stuff like that. I don't care about getting my name out there and trading in trading competitions. The most I want to get my name out there is I want to grow my YouTube. That's pretty much it. Man, that shot my throat. Talking nonstop for like an hour. Okay, at this point, like I said, you're pretty much hovering over the close button. Which this would be a pretty healthy profit if you took that long from a while ago. If it goes below 90 or pretty much this node like right here, you're pretty much done. Yeah, I think the Robbins one is real money. Is that the one that has like ridiculous fees? Like they're basically just there to kill you with fees. They're trying to make their money off fees. The problem I have with trading competitions, whether real money or not, is almost nobody is going to be trading in that competition the same way that they trade on a day-to-day basis. A great example is if you guys were in the Discord way back in the day when we used to trade crypto, we used to have trading competitions like in the Discord just for fun, right? I had little cash prizes and whatnot. And I would trade in the competition as well. And we would use strategies that are very, very risky. Definitely not strategies that are consistent on a day-to-day basis. We would be like martingaling, pyramiding, like all kinds of just kind of gambling strategies. Because that's kind of what you have to do. Like if you're trading how you normally trade, making a few percentage here and there, there's no shot in hell you're going to win a competition against somebody who is basically gambling. They're going to beat you every single time. You take 100 people, put them into a trading competition. You could have 10 people trading the way they trade on a day-to-day basis. Consistently, slowly, whatever, patiently, whatever you want to call it. You could take the other like 70 people, another 70 people, and say they're gambling, because that's probably what most people are going to be doing. You could say that 60 of those people that are gambling instantly lose because they're gambling. They instantly lose their accounts. But even if like 5 to 10 of those gamblers are doing great, there is no shot any of the 10 traders that are trading normally are going to beat those 5 to 10 gamblers. And that was proven time and time and time again. If you guys were trading crypto back in the day, what was that site called? I'm trying to think of it. I don't remember. There was a site that was literally just trading competitions. And like every day, every week, you could sign up for a little competition. Whoever won would get the Bitcoin that was on the prize pool. And every time those competitions were won by somebody who was massively, like not even close, massively above everybody else. Because they were just gambling. League of Traders? I don't think so. That doesn't sound right. It was like an arena one. It was, I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a crypto site. That might have been one of them. That's not the one I'm talking about, though. If I asked Dime, he'd probably remember. We used to trade them all the time. So gambling is good? No, gambling is still terrible. Because the vast majority of those traders would lose. And if they gambled in 10 competitions, they would lose probably 9 of them. But that one that they did a good job on, there's almost no chance anybody else in that competition are going to beat them. That's my point. It's just the rule of numbers, right? Law of numbers, what are you going to call it? The law of large numbers. One of those gamblers is probably going to do well, and you are not going to beat him. Now, I never track these trading competitions, but is that true for these trading competitions? Am I spot on? On like the Robbins Cup or whatever the hell you guys are looking at? Is the person who's winning like leagues ahead of the people that are in like second, third? And does their percentage look unreasonable? Does their percentage look like they were probably gambling? Yeah, the law of averages, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that I heard, GF, is that those competitions allow you to open as many accounts as you want. So you can kind of just like gamble on both accounts and hedge them. So you're actually losing money, but you're winning the competition. It's really stupid. Like I said, I'm not wasting my time. Anybody who uses that as like a, oh, hey guys, I won the Robbins Cup, I must be a great trader, like they're full of shit. They do that so they can make a clickbait title on their YouTube videos. Yeah, exactly, Solo. Exactly. And that's my point. Yeah, 200% or something. Exactly, yeah. Let me see if Dime's awake. I want to know what that site was called. I can't think of it right now. This indicator is market profile. If you watch my how to trade market profile video, it goes over it. Once again, guys, I'm not tape reading because what did I say earlier? Between 90 and 96, we do not care. I do not care what happens here. You need to get used to turning your brain off in between important levels and when you're building up a node. Like when you're just like balancing and building up a node, you don't really care. I don't think Dime's awake right now. Yeah, Jazz, he's still around. If you follow him on Twitter, man, he posts like every day on Twitter. He's still shit posting and same old Dime. Shit posting and posting about crypto. Some days it's more crypto, some days it's more shit posting. Now, he still tweets like every day, Jazz. Pretty sure. Okay, starting to test below 90 here, starting to look a little weak. Yeah, it's probably just your timeline. So like I said earlier, when it failed that breakout, pretty much any point as it was coming back down, it's really up to you as the trader to determine how many more points do you want to give away on that profit. And you would just be hovering over the close button and be like, okay, that's enough, I'm done. If you guys weren't here earlier, what started this trade was a couple of things. Right here, you had a very strong 1 minute dragonfly, which at the time I was talking about it being very far away from the ADMA, so you were looking for a rebound back into the ADMA. It turned into a lot more than a rebound. You started staying above the ADMA, you failed the bear flag into VWAP, you showed no sell pressure below that ADMA. So basically any point during this little bounce right here was that entry. And pretty much the entire time since then, it's just been one very choppy trade. And if you guys weren't here earlier, I commentated that trade pretty much candle by candle, tick by tick. So that started around like 10:08. Didn't something happen 10:08? That's almost the exact same time as a trade. I think it was yesterday or Monday. Like literally to the minute. I remember talking about 10:08. Oh, Dime's awake. Does he know what the site's called? He doesn't. Awesome. Okay, at this point, it is pretty much entirely over. So you would either be exiting that that buy trade completely, or you'd be possibly in a sell trade if you were never in that buy trade. This is a 30-minute high sweep, so you could possibly be in a sell trade here. This is a very key level for this P-shaped profile. This is the value low. So if you stay below 86 here, this turns into a P-shaped failure. So staying below 80, yeah, like 88 to 86, you would start to really threaten all these late buyers. But all right, guys, we're going to call it on that. I appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the tape reading today. Just keep an eye on VWAP on NASDAQ. We already lost VWAP on ES. If we stay below 86 on ES, like I just said, P-shaped failure, possibly going back down to the lows. That would be, let me see here. Yeah, that would be in line with our trade plan. We're looking for 52 to continue that rotation. NASDAQ so far seems like it's holding VWAP, so not terrible just yet. Still holding the value low, so the P-shape is intact. But all right, guys, look out for a recap video later today. I'm not sure when it will be out, possibly around like 5 o'clock, maybe later. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys want to support the channel, you can use code BREW on Apex. You can check out Addis free trial in the description below. If you want to check out Discord or the new tutoring that we released, you can check out that in the description below as well. The new site is pretty much 100% done. I just have to put some testimonials and some like member results on there, which I will be doing this weekend. But other than that, the new site is finished. But all right, guys, if you're in Discord, I will see you there for the rest of the day. If you guys are not in Discord, enjoy your day. I'll see you tomorrow, same time as always. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and look out for that recap video later today.